What would it normally take to measure a kitchen?
Maybe a really good person, 30 minutes to an hour.
And I know that's a little unfair, but just use rough numbers
Mhm.
to digitally measuring a $50,000 kitchen.
I think a kitchen like that could be measured in 10 minutes.
That's crazy. Because that kind of savings, I mean, that means that now I could pass that task on to a project manager or even send somebody from the shop to go do it while the rest of the people are working. You've got lots of options there. My name's Dominic Rubino. Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. Today, I've got Steven Moran as a guest, and we're going to be talking about something really, really cool, which is the people problem, but from a digital measuring side, because Steven's going to walk us through how digital measuring and using this technology can help you with what you think is a people problem. Now, what you're going to hear us talk about it in this episode are some things that you might be surprised to hear. One of them is the Go Back report. And of course, many of you have already downloaded the Go Back report from us. If you haven't had it, send me a text and I'll get it off to you. We're going to be talking about revenue responsibility per hour. And you might be insanely surprised to find out that all of this topic came up from our side because we're looking more and more at succession planning for cabinet and millwork and closet companies. So how does that all lead to digital measuring? You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. By the way, the Christmas water project is off to an insanely great start. And I want to thank everybody who took the time to like or leave a comment on an episode. It's an easy way for us to count an action that allows us to donate. And for every point, we donate 10 liters of water. And I'll tell you more about it at the end of the show. Anyways, let's get to the interview with Steven Moran. I know you're going to love it. We'll see you on the other side. Steven, how are you?
Great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back with you again. Nice to see you. I met some of your team at the AWI conference, which I thought was pretty cool.
It's a great organization.
Yeah, they were at the booth down there in San Antonio, Texas.
Love it.
Yeah, love it. Great place. So, hey, listen, I'm glad to have you here. You and I have been organizing this for a little while. It's the holiday season. Some people may not know that. That's why you and I have some quiet time. I'm going to say that here. I've had
Yeah,
2 power outages in this building over the holiday season, so hopefully we're good today.
I hope so.
Yeah. But let me ask you this question. Steven Moran, who the heck are you? And how is it that you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing cabinet makers, mill workers, and closet industry people all over the world?
Appreciate it. Honored to be here. Again, my name is Steven, CEO of FlexiJet Digital Measuring. So digital measuring company, grew up in the industry inside and out in different ways. So when I walk into shops, I enjoy learning about the problems that they're having and how we might be able to solve those. And that's kind of the specialty there.
Mm-hmm.
Proud father, happy to always spend time with my daughter and make sure she's raised correctly. And it's been an honor to kind of go that. She's 2 now. So
Oh, fun.
very happy with that.
Fun.
Mhm. And basically, I would say my goal here is I love sharing information, even if people are not customers of ours. Anytime we can benefit other shops or other people within our industry, just love spreading the word.
Right. Yeah, it is important. Education really is the most valuable thing we can share. And shop owners are busy. They're pulled in a million directions. Customers are pulling them one direction. Staff is pulling them another direction. Going home to hang out with their 2-year-old kids or
Yeah.
20-year-old kids, because we've got people out there with 20-year-old grandkids. So, we got the whole spectrum here.
Yep.
Yeah. That is the most important thing. Well, and we might touch on that today, because I think in our pre-interview, we talked a little bit about how time plays a big role in this topic. Maybe I should restate the topic. What do you think of that?
Yeah, why not? Let's start there.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about digital measuring, is a way to solve your people problems.
Correct.
Interesting way to look at things, Steven. Interesting. How is digital measuring a way to solve my people problems?
Yeah, and it was an interesting topic that I would say I'm very passionate about. It resonates with me, so I'm hoping it'll resonate with some of the listeners or watchers on this. And I think one of the big things, we all know accuracy is important. Almost so important that the owner in the shop is either still doing it or has recently stop doing it. And that's one of the things that we're trying to impact is we want owners to be able to work on their business instead of in their business.
Love
But I
it.
really appreciate that owners realize the importance of good data. And that's usually where we like to start.
Yeah. The amount of waste that gets introduced by bad information at the front of the
Mhm.
whole project is incredible, isn't it? You know,
Incredible. Yeah,
wrong size measurements doesn't matter what we're making, but if you've got the wrong measurements, that mistake is going to pass all the way through the system. And of course, it's only going to show up when we go to do the install and we need that final payment because we need that cash to do something else in the business.
correct.
Yeah. So why don't let's figure out a way to stop that before it even starts. What a great way to think about an SOP. If you've got a recurring problem, folks, it doesn't matter what the recurring issue is, go back to the source of that problem and figure that out first, which is Stephen, why I've got you here.
And I think again, just that good data from the beginning is what a
Mm,
lot of people are so worried about. Now they're focused on the right spot, but how can we get them out and getting a little bit more information?
yeah. So how do we get good data that we can trust, that we believe in? And as you started off, making sure that the owners, they know this is one of the most important parts of the business. How do we
Mhm.
get them to peel themselves apart from that so they can move on to other things?
I truly think digital measuring is the future,
Mm,
regardless of which company you're working with on it. I think the accuracy you get from it, the confidence you get from it, the confidence in your people to be able to delegate to them to get the job done, probably even better than you were currently doing it. The ability to bid on more complex projects and
mm,
be 100% trusting in the process that you've built. I think those are key things to start the building blocks.
yeah. Now you and I had our pre-meeting where we sort of sketched out the thought process behind all this, kind of approaching it from a training or an awareness perspective. Can I read to you the
Hmm.
4 points that you and I landed on and
Of
maybe we'll
course.
start there?
Hmm.
So, hey folks, everybody listening, Stephen and I didn't just come in here cold and think, hey, let's have a chat and go nowhere. We sat down and just like you would prepare to do a really good job on a high-end cabinetry or millwork or closet install, this is what we did as well. So here's the 4 points that we thought would be impacted by digital measuring and impacting your people problem. Number one, labor. Number two, delegating, which is a great subset of labor. So anybody
Hmm.
listening out there who's saying, I wish I could delegate better, this might be
Hmm.
part of that tool set. Number three, the owner's revenue responsibility per hour. And number
Hmm.
four, confidence in good data, good information I trust. So I'll leave it to you. Where do you want to start in that conversation?
Good question. There's so much good information that we can kind of go past on there.
Mm,
I think the main thing is that you're talking about the labor dollars and the amount of people that have to go and touch that job site, the travel time, the gas, the mileage, you know, just thinking dollar for dollar, all those things kind of gets my
right.
ROI mind going, right? We want to get the right people to the job site. We want to eliminate go backs as often as possible,
I
right?
love it.
We want
Yeah.
to measure, produce, install. We don't want multiple trips that you need to go and get more data because things change all the time. And how can we capture more data ahead of time so that even when something changes, you already have the data from your first measurement that it's you can use that to change things.
Yeah. And things always change.
Mhm.
Things always change. For anybody out there who's a lean manufacturing wonk, and I'm a semi wonk, let's just say, I love lean manufacturing. I certainly don't claim to be the expert in this field, but wasted efforts
Mhm.
is just an incredible profit leak for us. And we don't get paid for non-value added work. What we get paid for is to deliver kitchen cabinets installed. All the customer cares about is their flush level square on the wall. Same thing with millwork, same thing with, it doesn't matter. That's all we get paid for. So anything else around that is our place to find opportunities to be a little more efficient, a
Mhm.
little more accurate, so we don't do that rework. And that's, everybody here, everybody that listens to this show or watches it knows that we talk about the go back report, which is it's painful.
Mhm.
It's like forging a hammer, carving the handle, and then putting your hand on a stump and smashing it with said hammer. That's the go back report. The whole process is painful.
One thing I've noticed when it comes to labor, especially touring across the US, is everybody tells me it's hard to find even a warm body. And this is where adopting digital measuring, you could
Mm.
take a sales guy and have him adopt it. The ability to teach somebody fresh out of school who has maybe some computer knowledge how to be a professional measuring person, it really cuts that learning curve in half. So
Mm.
it's so much easier to solve that labor problem without needing somebody with 20 years experience.
You just made me think of something there, which is for anybody who wants to bring their kids into the business, but their kids
Mhm.
are really into software or technology, thinking, I don't want to follow mom and dad into the cabinet shop. I really want to, flex my technical muscles. I guess this is a way to do that.
For sure. Yeah, the design, the measuring, the verification, all of that being done by computers these days. You're
Mm.
you're already using automation in your CNCs in your production. Why not start with your measuring also?
Hey, I want to tell you a story about a lighthouse, right? Think about a lighthouse and a ship on the high seas. And you, of course, are the captain of the ship. And ships don't need the captain at the wheel every second of the day. What they really need is a light to guide them safely home. And that is the role of a foreman on your ship, a steady guide. The problem is most foremen were promoted for their skills on the tools, not their leadership. And of course, on top of that, until now, there's never been a way to train foremen on leadership skills. Well, Foreman 101 fixes that. Join my free information call. I need the owner and the foreman there together, and I'll show you the actual agenda. Get on the wait list for the next free info session. Just text me at 315 903 7853 and say foreman training, and we'll get you on the list. Have you ever measured the training time it takes to get somebody, I'll just say proficient at doing digital measuring? And it doesn't matter what format, formula, or what format or hardware, software they're using. But how long does it take for somebody to get good, capital G, good at measuring?
Good
Digital measuring,
question.
sorry,
Yeah,
digital
and
measuring.
it always depends on their background, but also the job complications. I think within a week, somebody could be out measuring a kitchen for cabinetry, and be able to
Really?
gather the data. Yeah, it's not hard when you have a digital measuring system that is doing a lot of the thinking for you. Then as you get to more complex things, maybe like wall paneling, architectural stuff, ceilings, reception
Ceilings,
desks,
yeah,
these are
curved
where
staircases.
a little bit more training has to be done, but that's where it's so great to do the training as the jobs come in. It's way better than teaching somebody how to measure wall paneling or ceilings, and then they don't do one for a couple months.
Mm,
So the training being custom focused on here and now and what the next project is definitely very important.
yeah, that's it's incredible that technology's come that far. Because I remember when I was a kid, people are going to laugh, but I think we probably all started this way. I was doing a project in the basement with my dad, just I don't know, framing something up. And he goes, what does the tape measure say? And I'm like, I don't know. It's the number 17, and then there's three little lines, three little bits, I think I called it.
Yeah,
And,
I
and
was
that
I
was
was
the
there
measurement.
before.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I was there before. My first time measuring my first job, I was being trained and I said one big line and two little lines. And the guy told me to get out.
you know, how
So
long are you going to be new for, son? How long are you going to be new? I don't know how to
yeah,
read this thing.
to go from there to where I am now. And this is a big thing when it comes to measuring digitally. Think of it, you could be a good person with a tape measure, but you could write it down wrong. And then when you're doing your design, you could draw it up wrong. So
Mm,
digital measuring actually solves those two potential manual entry error points.
right.
And that's why even somebody with 20 years experience probably still has one error every 1,000 measurements.
Right. But that costs the owner money,
Correct.
right? And you get tired, you get stressed. Or if you're doing a multifamily place, they all look the same,
Hmm.
but they're just drywalled a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then you've got just that variation in measurements. Yeah. It's it's interesting, we take these measurements and translate them back into the office, but you're right, we could just be translating problems right back into the shop all the way
Hmm.
down, and we don't know it until we show up again.
And it's that error at the beginning that owners know, and that's why they're probably the ones still doing it, that then causes that wasted trip, that then costs the wasted gas, the wasted material. And sometimes the headache is not just the cost of the material. What if
Yeah.
there's a 6 week backlog and now the customer has to wait another 6 weeks? What is that problem worth to you to solve also?
Well, it's just one more tough conversation with the builder who referred you that work, or a
Hmm.
homeowner who's not going to refer you to the next job.
Yep.
Yeah. Stephen, there's a concept we talk about here on the show. And for those who this is their first time watching it on YouTube or on iTunes, can I take a second and explain it? Because I think it underscores your point here.
Of course,
Labor
please.
rolls, yeah, thank you. Labor rolls right over into the revenue responsibility per hour and the go back report
Hmm.
that you're talking about. So just very rough math, folks. If your sales last year were $1 million, and I'm just picking that randomly because I can do the math on my fingers here. Not that I have a million fingers, but you're going to see where I'm going with this. And you work 50 weeks a year, 40 hours a week. That's 2,000 hours a year. Now, a lot of people are laughing. They're saying, Dom, I do 2,000 hours before Wednesday. But if we just divide those two numbers, we now know it's $500 per hour. That's the owner's revenue responsibility per hour. So the next time an owner says, I got to go measure that cornice or that closet or whatever it is, that owner's leaving the shop, going to the job site. And you know, Stephen, that's not a 1 hour turnaround,
Hmm.
probably half a day at best, no matter what. An hour to get there, an hour to do the work, an hour to come back. And you've just wasted three times $500 an hour. You just wasted $1,500 worth of potential in your company.
Hmm.
So your point about this is pretty easy to train people because it's a technology, and I'm sure you have SOPs and systems and step one, step two. Well, the
Hmm.
payback internally is probably pretty quick
I would say you see a return even after the first project.
after the first project.
Hmm.
What's the kind of feedback that you hear from people in the industry in general? They were not a digital measurement user and now they are. What was their look back story going? I didn't know.
Some of them want to kick themselves, like you want to kick your younger self sometimes to be like, why did I make that decision? They go, how come I didn't make this decision sooner? They
Mm,
heard about it, they knew about it through maybe a different trade or through a friend that might be already be doing it. And, change is scary. Investing the time to learn it seems scary.
yeah.
We even find people scared of the term CAD, which is just computer assisted design. And that is usually a bottleneck we have to get through first, that it's all solved by proper training and just
Mm,
adopting it and trusting the system.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's progress. I hate to say it, it's progress and it's change. And then we get tired of change. Our team resists change and we think, what's going to bring me the most value? But I'll say as a business coach, anything we can do that focuses the owner on running this like a real business and
Mhm.
delegating, which was your second point, delegating tasks to others to get good information is definitely worth doing.
Yeah, handful of people that we've worked with have hired somebody new, handed it over to them, and have created so much time in their business to now focus on the big projects, focus on areas they didn't even know were problems because they were so blinded by just going to the job sites and wanting to be hands-on with everything.
Mm. What are are there some myths around digital measuring in general that people come to you with and they're like, I heard it's this, I've heard it doesn't do that. The lasers are going to burn my skin. I went conspiracy theory on that one, but
Yeah, I mean, we always have the questions, will the laser burn the wall? No, it's not going to. Some people believe in a dream where you set up the laser and it just measures everything for you. No, you still got to have training on how to run it, what data do you want it to capture for you,
mm,
and things like that. So the training is definitely important. Don't try and do it on your own. Make sure you're taking the training plan that anybody is offering to you to be able to do that. I think some of the myths too are just that it's just overly complicated. It's not.
no,
As long as you're open to it, and the value has to be bigger than the problem.
the value has to be bigger than the problem. I like
Hmm.
that. The value has to be bigger than the problem. So if we take a typical, let's say a $50,000 kitchen, which is just for some that's going to be high, for many that will be low,
Hmm.
$50,000 kitchen. Um, what kind of problems are we solving there, like in terms of hours? From manually measuring a $50,000 kitchen, and I know that's a little unfair, but just use rough numbers,
Hmm.
to digitally measuring a $50,000 kitchen.
I think a kitchen like that could be measured in 10 minutes, with window openings, with electrical plugs, with plumbing locations, even door trim. and where doors are so that
Yeah.
you can avoid, your drawer hitting those tight spots. Everything can be captured. And we even say, if you're also doing your countertops, capture that at the same time while you're
Mm.
there. Um, it's not difficult to go through the process that if you're already there, why can't I capture all the data that I need for anything that's being done?
That's I didn't think that was going to be the number. So I could do a kitchen in 10 minutes versus what
Mhm.
are you hearing people normally doing? And this is not a race, folks. Steven's going to answer or not answer, but you've all got your own numbers. But what would it normally take to measure a kitchen?
Maybe a really good person, 30 minutes to an hour,
Yeah.
um, is sometimes what we've heard. And, are they checking the level of the floor? Are they checking how bad the walls are?
Wonk.
Um,
How wonky they are. Yeah.
yeah, anything like that. Are they missing key details that could make or break the project?
Yeah. That's crazy. Because that kind of savings, I mean, that means that now I could pass that task on to a project manager or a really trusted, uh, depending on how you're running your company, the installer, or even send somebody from the shop to go do it while the rest of the people are working. You've got lots of options there.
Lots, yeah.
Yeah.
And cabinetry wouldn't even be where we see the biggest dividend. It's definitely the more complex stuff, layouts. So doing projections for where stuff is going to be placed,
Mm.
reception desks in hotels, making sure that it meets all your requirements of the wheelchair access and everything like that too. So every small detail matters in these kind of projects.
So every small detail. So how many data points does this thing capture? I mean, I imagine since we're basically talking about a computer, it's more than I
Mhm.
can imagine. But how many data points would you capture?
As many as you need, but sometimes it's just 2 points on each wall. On the important walls, do a little bit of a scan, see where the high and low points are. Make sure you have photo documentation of everything there. Is anything damaged while you're measuring? Sometimes even just doing some
Mm.
preemptive information protects your business at the same time as well. So we more look at it like forensics in a way, more than just measuring also.
Oh, to be able to prove that that wall was damaged or it was out of square when you framed it and we told you and you
Or
still
it was
framed it.
like that before the installers got there. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's
Mhm.
very interesting. Did I ever tell you the story about the shepherd and the sheepdog? Let me tell you something. A shepherd can't watch every sheep at the same time. That's why he's got sheepdogs, right? To keep the flock moving in the right direction, get them from one end of the farm to the other safely and on time. So in your shop, I want you to think of your foreman as the sheepdog. If he's not trained, healthy, and taken care of, the whole crew scatters and jobs fall apart. That's why I run Foreman 101 training. It is specifically designed to show foremen how to lead the crew, not just swing a hammer. We're running a free 1 hour info call where owners and foremen have to attend together. Get on the wait list for the next free info session. Just text me at 315 903 7853 and say foreman training, and we'll get you on the list. When we talk about something complex, like a ceiling,
Mhm.
architectural ceilings where it's a reversed image and that's my brain cannot handle that. I'm the first one to say it. What's the application for this in that kind of complex application?
To me, it's the measurement part is simple. I love seeing the project because the magic is really in the install and the design. But you're just measuring your walls and then just checking how level the ceiling is. And from that, you've pretty much captured everything. It's very, I don't want to keep saying it's easy, it's simple because you're going to need the training to go with it. But
Hmm.
once you've kind of captured what you need and you see the angles of everything that's going on, even if you have a dome ceiling, you're going to be able to capture all of that in 2D and in 3D, depending on what you need for it. It's just amazing. You could probably sit there another 20 minutes gathering data you don't even need just to be safe. And like I said, you're probably going to capture more data than you need. So if there is a change order, you can go back to your drawing and say, okay, I remember capturing that window, that now
Yeah.
we have something that we're doing differently on. Let's go back to our file and edit it.
I immediately as you were talking about that situation, my mind went to the patriarch of the business. I'm just going to say the dad who feels he can never leave the company, even though his son or daughter is ready to take it over, because he's the only one who knows how to estimate curved receptions, domed ceilings, different types of architectural features, it's hard to take that years of intuition and turn it into an
Mhm.
accurate estimate or set of drawings or even a change order. It sounds like this would be part of the solution for helping that person pass the torch to the next generation.
100%. We see a lot of companies investing to hand it down correctly. And again, using computers and design to make these thoughts for you instead of needing that heavy experience is such a huge difference.
Yeah, it's that what do we call it? The tribal knowledge that our
Mhm.
company has,
Yeah.
just the years of experience that now can be. It's not fair to say it can be replaced because it can never be replaced.
Mhm.
But it sounds like we can have a lot of certainty that the information we're pulling in is good info on a, like you said, a curved ceiling or a domed ceiling, or just even knowing your floor elevations as you go in, things that somebody might overlook and saying, well, I was there to measure the walls. I didn't care about the ceiling.
Yeah, and I learned early on in my career, every project is different. You may do it one way in one project and another way in another. So even if the current leader in the organization documented everything in their mind in videotapes and everything, the next kitchen you do with a new designer that has a new idea is not going to match anything. So it's that problem solving you also can't teach.
Yeah. Well, I
Mhm.
guess that goes to delegating. The second point that you and I figured out, which is being able to delegate this with confidence after you've trained somebody, is a lot easier.
Yeah, then you may just have to, as the owner or the leader of the project, step in, give a little bit of information. You don't need to spend hours on it, like we talked about 3 hours, but you can now put 15 minutes of problem solving and then move on to the
Mm,
next item. Uh, Definitely very helpful.
higher value work for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. What's the thing that people don't know is coming in the future in digital measuring? I'm trying to get the inside scoop here for everybody.
good question. I think getting to things like LiDAR, where eventually somebody can measure from their phone.
Mm,
I would say it's not quite there yet. In some projects, you can, depending on the accuracy that you need. But for like the detail projects, maybe looking at how do you get an accurate wireframe and then paint a LiDAR over top it. This might be something interesting that happens. But I think more and more homeowners and designers want to see renderings of what it's going to look like. They want to see the dream along the way.
absolutely. Yeah,
So when
absolutely.
you've already captured a 3D model and it's already there, bringing it into a program and doing a quick rendering on it is not hard from there.
Yeah. This is fantastic. Hopefully we've opened a lot of people's eyes on this part of the business that they haven't considered. Here you and I are. New Year's is upon us in just a couple of days. Depends on when people listen to this. They might already be well into 2026, but it kind of doesn't matter. At some point, you have to think about improving your systems all the time because if we don't, we get left behind. Stephen, if somebody wants to find you in this big wide world, how the heck do they do that?
Great question. Appreciate it. I can always be reached 1-844 my flexi, which is FLEXI, or myflexijet.com. We're always available, and systems is what we do. We're not a sales company, we're a training company. We have a good product that goes with it, but we like to think of ourselves as a training company that helps you build systems out of the gate and then knows how to customize our training to you.
Yeah. I don't mind telling everybody the reason that you caught our attention is because more and more we're dealing with succession planning, and which is, how you're passing this business on either to your kids or to somebody else that's going to buy the business, or maybe a
Mhm.
private equity firm that doesn't have the expertise but wants to buy into the industry. And part of the gap is how do you take everything in the owner's mind and convert it into some what you started with, which is data we can trust, usable
Mhm.
data. So we can do the estimates and build with confidence. And so that's where our team has started to go down more of this path, or what are the tools out there to help people get that confidence and good information, use the owner's time wisely, and again, back to succession planning, be able to let that owner who's been working in this industry for 25, 30 years be able to move on with confidence, passing the business to somebody else who can now run it with confidence.
True. And that's why I'll always say focus on your business. Don't work in it, work on it.
Yeah, perfect.
Mhm.
Stephen, thank you very much for being a guest. I really appreciate your time, especially here in the holiday season.
Of course, really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing more of the episodes and learning more about you as well.
Thanks, Steven. Have a great day.
Bye.
Well, Mr. Steven Moran, thank you so much for joining us today and educating us on digital measuring and the kinds of impacts you've seen it have on other shops and install crews out there in the world and how they're making the most of it. For those of you thinking about succession planning or just really delegating, right? Delegating and succession planning are almost the same thing. It's just on a bigger scale. But if you're thinking about that and you're thinking, I don't know how to replicate myself, this is one of the tools. Again, there's a lot of different ways to go about this, but at least this is one of the tools to help you do that. Now, on the show, you heard us talk about revenue responsibility per hour. You heard us talk about the go back report. If you haven't gotten those from us before, if you haven't gotten those, that's not good English. If you have not received those professional development tools before, if you haven't had a chance to use those, send me a text and then I'll shoot them off to you. And these are documents you can do on your own. So feel free to have at it. Just send me a text. And then the other one is on succession planning. So if you want the family succession handoff checklist, that's another reason to send us a text. And what we'll send back to you is it's a printable package so that you can sit down with your family or go through it yourself, however you want to do it. And just think about, are we ready to hand off this business to the next generation or to a buyer who might come in? And if we are ready, what are the next steps to take? And it's kind of a checklist, right? You keep going through it as deep as you want. My cell phone number, for those of you that don't know, is 315-903-7853 and say family business handoff checklist. Or if you have never seen the go back report, I can't believe you haven't, then just send a text to that same number and just say go back report. So there's actually two things you can grab from us today. One of them is the family business handoff checklist, and the other one is the go back report. And just send me a text. I just want to talk about the Christmas water project for a second. So every year at Christmas, I like to do something because I love Christmas. I mean, I really, really like Christmas. And in the past, you guys have heard me do a poem about the Grinch and poem about, Rudolph and his sleigh and all that fun stuff. And by the way, I did all of those before ChatGPT. That was just off the top of my head. But this year I thought, well, how do we have a bigger impact as a community? Because there's a lot of listeners to this show, lots. And you may not know this, but we have another show as well. Between all of us, there's a lot of impact that we can have on the world. And I wanted to do something bigger, and I wanted to do something for legacy, especially as we talk more about succession planning. And so the idea of donating to somebody in need came about, and that's how we found this water project in Nicaragua. There is a community that exists beside an open pit dump, and they make their living going through the dump to find food and clothing and things they can resell. It's amazing when you see the pictures. They're very happy people, but that's just the world they live in. And how can we help them became the next question. And donating water to that cause was where I thought we would start. In the future, stay tuned. We might go down there and help build homes. But I wanted to start with this simple project first where we donate water. So for every point, we donate 10 liters of drinking water to that community, and it goes there through a church. So it's a regular charity, as you might expect. The way that you can participate is just leave a like or a comment on any episode. It doesn't matter. So go to YouTube. That's the easiest way to do it. Go to YouTube, choose an episode of mine that you like, or choose an episode that you want to comment on. Maybe you disagree with everything we said there. Maybe my hair looked funny. It doesn't matter. Leave a comment, and that counts as a point. And every point that you put towards this, then that helps the community in Nicaragua because we'll donate 10 liters of water from our side. There's nothing you have to do other than click a button, and then we'll take it on our side to do the donation of water. So I hope you take part in that with me. It's time for us to have a bigger impact than we ever thought we would have. Let me share some numbers with you. We went back and looked, and on a regular month, just any old month, we had 60, points if we count it like that. So 60 points means 60 times somebody left a comment or liked an episode, just 60. I've only announced this starting in November. As of today, it's December 29th, and we're up to 288 points. So 4 times as much impact as we would have had a month ago. So thank you to all of you who just took a second out of your day to like or comment on an episode. We're now up to 288. I want to get us up into the point where we've got around 1,500, 1,200 points per month. If we can do that, then we can send down a lot of water for these people down there. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to doing that together. All right, folks, thanks so much for checking in. Again, this is just wasting time. This episode, all of these episodes are just wasting time until you and I have a chance to sit down, slow down, get a nice hot cup of coffee, maybe a glass of wine, and chat, just talk like regular humans about regular things. Until then, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen here, learn with us, meet the guests, get inside their head, and find ways to improve your business. Until you and I get a chance to meet, this will have to do. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye bye.